Well, I would listen to Kirk Herbstreit a lot here lately, and one of the quotes that he had was very interesting about the Dogs. He said, "Georgia just got better as the year went on. The defense gets a lot of attention because of Kirby, but the offense this year is a juggernaut. Whoever matches up with them had better get used to 12 personnel with tight ends, running game, play action pass, and a quarterback who plays with a chip on his shoulder. Of course, they're getting ready to play Ohio State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which we're going to have total coverage for you over on Dog Post, really right now through the game. And of course, if Georgia plays in the national championship, we've got you covered there too. We've been covering the team for 20 plus years. Unlike a lot of people out there, we actually go to the games and cover the team on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, I think Kirk's right. I think what's not thought about a lot is Georgia's offense. This is a Georgia offense that is one of the best in the country. They're scoring quite a bit. They're really outstanding efficiency. I think is one thing that we don't think about a lot. When you think about Tennessee, USC, Oregon, even UCLA, you think Ohio State, you think boom offense. Hey, guess who's number 7? Georgia. You think Ole Miss, you think offense. The thing that's so curious about all these teams, Tennessee, Washington, UCLA, Oregon, USC, Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, these are all teams that you associate with a offensive minded solution to winning games. You don't think about that when you think about Georgia. You think about defense. Now, Ohio State is sitting there pretty well entrenched defensively too. They're at number 12 defensively, but Georgia's at 7 and 8 in both total defense and total offense. They are the most balanced team in college football on that front. You want to talk about complementary football? There's no team that does that better than Georgia. And I mean, when you're on the field, watching Georgia, there are times when it seems like, man, they're not really playing great right now. And then they explode, and just very quickly, it's 14 or 17 or 21 points, and the game's over because the defense isn't giving things up, man. I mean, when you think about it, the games that have been sort of closed out this year, Florida, LSU, um, maybe Kentucky, I guess. There's just not been a lot of games where, and those three are three of them where the Georgia offense has pushed the lead out so big that when the other team scores a couple of times or once, it makes you think, oh, the other team's back in it. They're not. They're down double digits. You know, I think the Oregon game was the one game where you were like, I mean, I said Oregon. The Kentucky game was the one game where you're like, can they make this one score game? No, they couldn't. And that defense, Kentucky's defense, really is the only team that slowed Georgia down this year. It's the only game that I can remember where Georgia just could not get going in the way they wanted to. Was that Kentucky, or was that the weather, or both? If you're picking up Dawgstruction for Christmas, get it now. You're going to run out of time before I can send it to you. I may run out of books. We're getting to that point. That's how many folks are ordering. I kind of doubt it. You will run out for Christmas. Get it. Let me send it out to you as fast as possible. I'm going to the post office multiple times each day so that they can get it out to you quickly. Get that done. But the Kentucky game, that's where Georgia scored fewer than 20 points. It's the first time they scored fewer than 20 points. I don't since the Clemson game, maybe. Uh, yeah. I mean, they just, under Todd Monken, they've scored fewer than 20 points 3 times. Guess what? Twice against Kentucky, at Kentucky both times. I mean, there's something to be said for the physicality of Kentucky. I think that is most like what Michigan's got. It is not like what Ohio State's got. And that's I need to continue to watch Ohio State, but as we've gotten closer to this game, my expectation that Georgia wins has grown a little bit because uh, sometimes Georgia folks, Georgia fans certainly, people around the program, they kind of they figure out how to be negative. But the problem is that when you look at what reality is, Georgia's the better team. They're better than Ohio State is. Now, I don't know if that means that Georgia certainly wins. In fact, I know that it doesn't mean that. But I would say that Michigan will probably win. I think I don't know which team has the better chance of winning because they're both right on top of 7-point lines. Um, but for the Dogs, this is, a great opportunity to win back-to-back national championships. They're getting faced up against an Ohio State team that, uh, you know, the style is a style that Georgia has dealt with in the past. When you think about Oregon, Tennessee, I mean, I guess South Carolina. I mean, Kirby says that the way Ohio State plays is not anything like anybody else. But they are going to Mississippi State maybe more than anybody, but they are going to be predicated on throwing it. They're going to be predicated on throwing it. And you know, when you look at teams that kind of throw it, or at least did against Georgia, Oregon 3 points, South Carolina 7, uh, Tennessee 13, Mississippi State 19, and then LSU particularly was 30. My take is if Ohio State doesn't score more than 30, they're not going to win. That's my overall kind of view of the world with this is that if Ohio State doesn't score 30 points or more, it's going to be tough for them to win this game because I think Georgia's going to score 30 or more. Here's the amount of teams that have scored 30 points or more in the last 2 years against Georgia: LSU, and LSU may be as close to Ohio State with receivers as anybody. Alabama last year, and then the Gators in 20, and Alabama in 20. That's it. Those 4 games. So it's been tough out there to score against this Georgia team. Um, and I think the other thing too, um, for Ohio State, they really are pretty good defensively. At least it's not the end of the world. But in the last 5 games, they've allowed they allowed 30 points 3 times. So 30 points or more 3 times. Now they survived 2 of those games, but it's just not an ideal situation. I also think that the thing that's tricky about Georgia is they score in traditional ways. I mean, like Kirk was talking about, they're going to get into power formations. They're going to get into 12 personnel and run on you, and then play action your ass. And then I talked a little bit yesterday about Stetson and what he's going to mean in this game. They're tough to stop because they have really good players at each position. I mean, we don't know if Lad McConkey's going to play. My suspicion is that he will, but it's just nonstop with Georgia. It is nonstop. You cannot. You can. Kentucky did. Kentucky stops Georgia. Was that the weather? I mean, again, y'all. Again, Oregon 49, Samford running clock 33, South Carolina 48, Kent State 38, Missouri on the road, Auburn 42, Vandy 55, Florida 42, Tennessee 27. They shut it down in the third quarter with a monsoon. Mississippi State 45 on the road, very cold. Kentucky 16, freezing. Georgia Tech 37. And then indoors, LSU 50 points. It's they've scored 99 points in Atlanta in 2 games this year. They like that turf. They like that crowd. Georgia just got better as the year went on. The defense gets a lot of attention because of Kirby, but the offense is a juggernaut. That is the part that I think is undervalued, and I think Kirk Herbstreit's got exactly right. Thanks for watching.